This series contains adult language and depictions of graphic violence. Listener discretion is advised. Call me crazy, but I'm driving to Phoenix with my family in June. Not just any old June, but this June, when there's a heat dome making things all extra Phoenixy. The kids have a sporting event there, and we decided to make a little trip out of it. Hoover Dam, Grand Canyon, Sedona, all the hits. So to celebrate the fact that I'll be driving my family into the 120-degree furnace of the American Southwest in the middle of a crippling heat wave, I decided to do a few episodes about the enduring fascination of the desert. The fear, the danger, the beauty, the eagle songs, and of course, the ghost stories. And boy, are there some creepy things that go bump in the night down the Arizona way. Welcome back to The Devil Within. You're listening to What I Did Over Summer Break, Part 1. So we're still pre-gaming here. The trip doesn't start till the end of the week, but I'm making a list of things to keep an eye out for. And to be frank, I'm competing with my big brother. He's currently on the road with his daughter, traveling to points unknown, searching for Bigfoot. Seriously, my niece is a firm believer in the existence of Sasquatch. She's 12, and she has a secret list of locations where she's convinced she can at least gather some strong evidence in favor of the creature's existence. Footprints, tufts of hair, maybe some poop. She's really swinging for the fences, and we totally support her. But I don't want them to have all the fun. So in the spirit of sibling rivalry, I'll share with you all my list of what I'll be on the lookout for in between air-conditioned rest stops. Back in the year 2010, a rancher just outside of Tucson, Arizona, awoke one morning to find a significant number of his sheep dead. They looked like they were peacefully sleeping. No major trauma anywhere on their bodies, no blood splattered across the ground. In fact, there wasn't any blood at all. Anywhere. Not even inside the carcasses. Closer inspection revealed circular holes in the skin in the neck area of each animal, as if attacked and killed by a vampire that had a thirst for goat's blood. The rancher couldn't believe the report he had to file with the police. He had officially lost livestock to a chupacabra. So as far as cryptids, or mythical beasts, are concerned, the chupacabra is very, very new to the paranormal scene. The first reported sightings of a strange creature that fed on the blood of livestock came out of Puerto Rico in the 1970s. It was in the small Puerto Rican town of Moca, where a string of livestock killings were attributed to El Vampiro de Moca. The translation isn't really necessary, but it means the vampire of Moca. Even back then, people were really freaked out because this first string of livestock killings were all the same. All the blood was gone, and it apparently was sucked out through round incisions in the neck. It got so crazy that as these killings continued across the island, people began to believe a satanic cult was involved. Always a satanic cult, right? Huh. But then things died down, and curiously, beyond Vampiro de Moca, this creature that sucked the blood from goats never earned a more global nickname. For the time being, Vampiro would remain a local legend. Then, in March of 1995, still in Puerto Rico, the killings began again. Same MO, same victims, the local goats, but this time it was serious. More than 150 goats were sucked dry, along with dozens of family pets that were probably collateral damage. Whatever the case may be, it was time for law enforcement to get involved, as farmers' bottom lines were suffering, and no one wants anyone going all John Wick because their beloved dog gets murdered. In August of that same year, the police caught a break. An eyewitness caught a sight of the beast as it fled a farmer's shotgun blast. By this time, it should be noted, the beast had been given a proper nickname. It was Puerto Rican comedian and businessman Silvio Perez who first thought of the name Chupacabra. Oh man, I'm sure millions of people were kicking themselves for not thinking of that name first, especially with how cool it sounds. The name translates literally to sucker of goats. Chupra is the Spanish verb to suck, and cabra means goat. Wow, that great name was just sitting there like a ripe apple just waiting to get snatched from the tree. So obvious, and still it took 20 years for someone to figure it out. Okay, anyway, so now we have a sighting of an honest-to-God chupacabra by a local woman named Madeline Tolentino. It was in the town of Canovanas, which was particularly hard hit by the recent spike in goat deaths. That's where Madeline saw the beast. And she got a good look as she was able to describe the creature in minute detail. Scaly green skin, walking on two legs, large almond-shaped eyes like an alien, and spikes along the spine starting from the head and continuing to the creature's lower back. Oh, and the teeth, or fangs, I should say, long fangs. But there was a problem with this alleged eyewitness sighting. So, as stated, the sighting occurred in 1995, in August to be exact. And about 6 weeks earlier, on July 7th, 1995, the science fiction thriller Species was released in theaters. The movie was a hit, earning over $113 million at the box office and spawning 3 sequels. The film is about a group of scientists who get in touch with an alien civilization and all agree, hey, these aliens, they seem nice and willing to share some awesome technology. In fact, the aliens send a DNA sample and instructions on how to splice that DNA with a human to make a really cool, totally not dangerous hybrid. Of course, the scientists pick a female embryo to splice, and the organism grows quickly into a super attractive 20-something supermodel. But this organism, named Syl, has other orders from the home planet. Breed and take over everything. Also, Syl is able to transform into what her alien forebears look like in real life. Scaly green skin, walking on 2 legs, large almond-shaped eyes like an alien, and spikes along the spine starting from the head and continuing to the creature's lower back. Wait a second. Doesn't that sound suspiciously identical to the description of the chupacabra that we got from the eyewitness? Why, yes, it does. It seems our witness, Madeline Tolentino, had in fact seen Species and was herself amazed at the similarity between the creature she saw and the alien in the movie. Madeline went so far as to suggest that the filmmakers had obviously spotted one of these chupacabras themselves and modeled the creature in the film after what they saw in real life. Okay. Then she changed her story to suggest that what she saw in the movie was happening in real life, and that these chupacabras were actually supermodel aliens out to take over the human race. So her story was quickly discounted, but the chupacabra horse was out of the barn, and the stories of more sightings across South America, Central, and North America began to pile up. Author Benjamin Radford published a book in 2011 called Tracking the Chupacabra, and he discovered a big difference that caused him to bifurcate the sightings of the beast into Puerto Rico and Latin America in one category, and purely United States sightings into a separate category. The first category dealt with the spiky alien-type creature, and Radford was able to get a little more specific in the description. Most witnesses would swear the creature was actually a reptile, which would explain the scaly skin. Also, a single row of spines or quills down the back, and this is the fun part, it stood upright and hopped like a kangaroo. Very different from the American category, where virtually all sightings concerned 4-legged, strange-looking dog or coyote type of animals. A university study in 2010 revealed that a parasitic infection called Sarcoptes scabii, when contracted by a wild dog or coyote, can cause symptoms that comport with many of the characteristics of what people believe to be a chupacabra. Hardly any fur, tough, thickened skin, and a terrible, rotting smell. But what about the choice of prey? Because other than a slight evolution of the palate, these American chupacabras also targeted goats. But they're not vampiric. They generally devour much of the killed animal. So how was it explained that so many goats and other farm animals were found with punctures in the neck, but otherwise intact, minus the blood in the body? Well, first of all, there were never necropsies performed to confirm the claim that these carcasses were drained of their blood. Second, a wild dog or coyote with a parasitic infection would likely be in a weakened condition and would have no choice but to attack confined farm animals, and probably then lack the strength to finish the job after the initial killing bite to the neck. At least that's what zoologists have stated. Interestingly, starting in the early 2000s, a new breed of wild dog was reported in the Yucatan Peninsula, and there were dozens of sightings of this large, hairless animal with a pronounced spinal ridge, large claws, and exaggerated fangs. Yes, terrifying. And maybe an actual chupacabra. So that's what I'm putting on my wish list as we make our way into the desert. The hairless, fanged dog from Cancun. And to be honest, I'm pretty confident. In his book, Radford figured out that the majority of these chupacabra attacks and sightings have occurred during drought seasons, when the usual food chain has been disrupted, and these creatures, usually content to stick to the wilderness, are forced to take their chances closer to civilization. And man, it's been a dry couple years out here. Okay, so once I've captured a chupacabra and successfully domesticated it so it'll be nice to my cats, I'm aiming for a larger catch. The Mogollon Rim is a geological feature that cuts across central Arizona, about 50 miles southeast of Flagstaff. It extends more than 200 miles, ending near the New Mexico border. The beautiful terrain is characterized by sheer limestone cliffs, dense pine forests, and cool mountain lakes. Oh, and an ape-like beast called the Mogollon Monster. First reported in 1903 by a tourist named I.W. Stevens, who noted in his journal, and then to anyone who would listen to him, that he had encountered a terrifying, quote, wild man of the rocks. Then, in the 1940s, a 13-year-old Boy Scout named Don Davis had a similar encounter, but allegedly came within feet of the towering beast. Davis described it as a monster-like man, nearly 10 feet tall, with a hairless face and deep-set eyes, and the rest of the body covered in long, thick, dark brown hair. This creature, when running, would cover enormous distances with a single stride and would navigate the steep, rocky terrain of the Mogollon Rim with ease. Hold on. This sure sounds like Bigfoot, doesn't it? Well, yes and no. But mostly yes. True Arizonans will make sure to add the qualifier Arizona Bigfoot if you choose to not use the proper name of Mogollon Man. Yes, you could say he's in the Sasquatch family, but he's distinctly an Arizona creature. In her book, The Mogollon Monster, Susan Farnsworth recounts several tales of terrifying encounters with this ape-like beast that roams the forests of central Arizona, including the harrowing story of a hunter on the trail of what he thought was a rogue grizzly bear that had been killing livestock. And just as he thinks he's found the bear, he realizes that he's actually discovered the feeding grounds of something that definitely was not a bear. The hunter had become the hunted, and this man, Jack Waite was his name, found himself in a fight for his life, firing almost 20 rounds from his powerful hunting rifle at a Bigfoot-like creature that moved with stunning speed and agility and was easily more than 8 feet tall. What's also interesting is that through her research, Farnsworth isn't convinced that the Mogollon monster is even a mammal. There are enough sightings to make the case that what we're talking about here is a giant reptile. Also, there are obviously more than one of these things, as the first sighting was more than 120 years ago. It's highly unlikely that a land mammal or large reptile would live that long in the harsh desert climate of Arizona. So, they're breeding? So what's an adventurous vacationer to do? 2 summers ago, I went on a treasure hunt in Yellowstone National Park. And man, that was a good time. Beautiful scenery, wildlife, and I didn't even hate camping up there, which I thought I would because I hate camping everywhere. But this trip is different. Not gonna lie, it's supposed to be above 110 degrees when we're rolling through the great state of Arizona, and this is no treasure hunt. There are potentially dangerous beasts with the taste for flesh. Maybe even a 10-foot bipedal reptile. So I'll probably be staying in the car. But I'll be sure to let you all know how it goes. Thanks for listening. Be sure you're following The Devil Within wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. You can also follow our socials at The Devil Within Pod on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Until next time, stay safe out there. The Devil Within is a Cloud 10 Media production, recorded live at Bel Air Studios in Los Angeles, California. Written and produced by Brandon Morgan. Executive produced by Sim Sarna. Our post-production supervisor is Bruce Whitkin, who also provided original music for this episode. For The Devil Within, I'm your host, Brandon Morgan.